Hey, are you ready folks to hear what books I read this month?
I go to war, I'll fight for you. Even when I've left, I do right by you. I'll be your everything, your blue sky. I go to war, I'll fight. Damn right.
Hey guys, it's Alice. So if you haven't met me before, hi, welcome to this channel. I am today going to be filming my June wrap up. I read 4 books in June, not too shoddy, not too bad. Here are the books that I read. Haha, here are the books. We shall go through these. Proud of myself, considering that last year I think I read 4 books the whole year. So well done Alice for doing that in June. We shall just go through each book. I shall double check when I read them so I can do it in the chronological order because organisation. The first book that I read this month was The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So I won't actually be going into depth about this because I literally filmed a whole like 25-30 minute video about this book that is already up on my channel. So yeah, in summary, I'll do a quick little. This is the prequel to the Hunger Games books. This was released in May, I'm pretty sure. I love the Hunger Games with all my heart. They're currently on loan to some friends, but I love the world, so I had to buy this and I bought it in hardback, even though I'd rather have a paperback because I couldn't wait for the paperback to come out because I'm just dedicated to that world and I had to, you know. I really enjoyed this book. I found it very interesting and I especially enjoyed the questions at the back, which if you watch the video I filmed, I like go through all the questions at the back, which is why the video is so long. So I started reading that right at the end of last month and then finished it on the 10th of June and I gave that 4 out of 5 stars. I did really enjoy it. Me being me was very confused because it took me a while, longer than I'd care to admit, that it's about President Snow. I didn't realise that in the Hunger Games President Snow was like 82. I assumed he was like 60. So in my head I was like, maybe this is like President Snow's dad or something. It's not, it's about President Snow. So lots of things shocked me more than they should because I had in my head that it was President Snow's dad, and yeah, I just confused myself basically. But if you love the Hunger Games, read that book. And the great thing is obviously you don't have to have read the Hunger Games to read that book because it is a prequel. Don't feel like you have to catch up or reread them or anything because this is a completely like, there's a prequel, you know, it's great. If anyone wants to borrow it, you're more than welcome to. Coffee makes my whole life better. It's a bold statement. It's true. And then the second book I read this month was incredible and it's The Flat Share. This, right, I'm a spine cracker, I apologise. So the spine has been utterly destroyed. Right, this is a book that I would never have picked up normally because this is an adult romance book. I am a young adult reader. I may be 21, but I read young adult. The only reason that I picked this up is because everybody on BookTube was obsessed with it, like absolutely everybody. And people who don't have Bookstagram accounts, who I follow normally, like my friends, were reading it as well. And I was like, this must be like mind-blowing for everyone to be reading it. And I loved it. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. The premise of this is that 2 people, Tiffy and Leon. Leon has a flat and he really needs money. He is a something care nurse. Leon is a night nurse. He has night shifts, so he is out of the flat from 6 PM to 9 AM, so he's only in there during the daytime, right? And he's away at weekends and he really needs the money. We don't know why. And so Tiffy really needs somewhere to live, and so she has a 9-to-5 job, so she's out at those times. So they flat share, like not even, you know, like separate rooms, like they share a bed, they share a room, they share everything. And so they've never met because they never cross over paths at the same time. And so this story just like follows these 2 characters and their lives, and like Tiffy is in publishing about crochet, loads of like DIY craft stuff, which I think my mum would love. And obviously Leon is like this cute little nurse. Oh, this book, honestly, at first I was like, oh god, this is going to be so like cliche and gross. Slight spoiler alert, not really spoiler alert. It doesn't turn like romancy until like halfway through. So at first you just begin to like love the characters, grow to really know the characters. And parts of this took place in Brighton, which made me so happy because that's where I went to uni. I love this book. I cannot recommend it enough. I'm going to try and force my mum to read it, but she probably won't like it because she reads like 50 Shades of Grey, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. So maybe this might be a bit too tame for my mother, but I think she should read it because I think it's incredible. and it fills me with all the hope and joy and fuzzies in the world, you know. 5 out of 5 stars, loved it. How long did it take me to read? 2 days. 2 days. So, and then the next book I read is The Grey Wolf, I can never say this, Grey Wolf Throne by Cinda Williams Chimer. I read these books because Reagan off of Reagan Reads, whatever her channel name is now, recommends this author like so highly. I think this is one of her favourite fantasy series. So this is book 3 in a series, and when did I last read the series? So I last read a book in this series, to be specific, book 2, The Exiled Queen, from the 18th of September 2018 to the 27th of December 2018. This book is the 3rd in a series, and me being me, I was being lazy. I normally would read like a summary on the internet of the plot points in a book like this, just to sum up the past 2 books because I'd forgotten what happened, but I was like, oh, he's fine, like I'll remember the more I read, which I did, but I think it just meant that like I probably didn't understand like the gravitas of the situation, because I was just like, have I met you before? What does this word mean? I do really like this fantasy series. It's one of those series where like I slowly buy each book because, you know, books cost money and like no. But I do really love the characters in this book. So this book, don't want to spoil it if you haven't read the others, but it basically follows this guy called Hans Alistair, and he is, what happens in the first book? He is a street thug and a crime lord. It basically juxtaposes 2 stories. It juxtaposes Han Alistair with the queen-to-be princess Raziana, Mariana, blah blah blah. And this one, if you're reading the series and you haven't read this book, don't listen to this whilst I'm holding the book in the air like this, because I'm about to tell you what happens in this, and it's probably going to be spoilers, so don't listen from now. In this book, Razia has just been kidnapped at the end of the last book, but she like escaped, and now she's like hiding and trying to like find her way, and like wars are breaking out all over the place, and Han is also trying to find her, but he doesn't yet know that she's he still thinks that she's Rebecca because she pretended to be someone called Rebecca, and people keep dying, people that I really like keep dying. And so it's about, this is a spoiler, the evil wizard, well, he's not evil, nobody knows he's evil, but he's evil. The High Wizard Gavin Bayar is trying to put Razia's little sister, who's like 13, Melanie, on the throne, because everybody thinks that Razia's dead, even though actually she was kidnapped by Bayar's son, Mika. Hayton. Razia's like hiding away in like the clan lands so that she can go in on like this thing and everyone knows she's alive, so she can take her rightful place as heir, you know, to the throne. But obviously Hans then finds out that she's the princess, and he's so angry because he hates the royal family. And oh, it's just, I love this series. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Only because I've been rating everything way too highly recently, and I was like, I keep giving everything really high ratings, and also this wasn't my favourite book of this series in my memory, so I was like, I don't want to, but this was a good book, and I'm very excited to read the next few books. And I think that there's only 1 more book in this series, but then I think there's like a second series. I think they've pulled like a Percy Jackson from that. My hair is long. Anyway, that's besides the point. This is everything you would want from a fantasy book. The world building, the characters, the like different magical systems and the rivalries and the kingdoms, and if you want to read a new fantasy series, pick these up. The 7 Realms series, pick them up. It took me 10 days to read this. I read it from the 17th to the 27th. My bookshelf is slowly becoming more disorganised because I'm running out of space, so things are getting just piled everywhere. That's my contemporary shelf, and I don't like putting contemporary books with all the other books, but my contemporary shelf is dying. Speaking of contemporary, this goes perfectly on to the final book I read this month, which was When Dimple Met Richie. I actually think you meant to say his name Richie, but I'm not sure. Now, I basically read this in the space of a day. I read like 20 pages one night, and then the next day completely finished it. I finished it yesterday. And now that I'm calmer, I can tell you that this is an adorable book, and it's such a good book, and I gave this, again, 3 out of 5 stars, but I'll explain that because that was for personal reasons. This is a really adorable book. If you're looking for a YA contemporary book, then this is one for you. So this follows Dimple, who is like aspiring to be in the world of technology. She loves creating apps. She's very like driven by all that stuff. What she doesn't want is what her parents, mainly her mum, wants for her, is to like go off to college and go and find her IIH, which is the ideal Indian husband. And so she's going to this like pre-university course thing called Insomniacon, and it's basically like you go and you build an app, and then at the end the best app gets to work with this person who she absolutely idolises called Jenny Lynn. And obviously Dimple wants to win this, like she wants to win this. And then throw in Richie. So he is the typical like very good, you know, like Indian boy. He is, you know, trying to make his parents happy and be proud, and he's very traditional, and like he is, you know, very much expecting like the whole arranged marriage thing. And the way that this starts is that their parents have arranged a marriage between them, but Dimple isn't aware of this and Richie is, and he thinks that Dimple's aware of it. So he meets her and is like, hey, you ready to spend the rest of our lives together? And she's got no clue what's going on. This is a teensy spoiler, but it's not really about the way that they meet, but she chucks her iced coffee all over him because she freaks out and legs it. But this is a really adorable book, and like obviously Dimple is really nice reading about a strong female character, especially one that's so young and especially one that is of colour. This is just an adorable story, and I found it really easy to read, and I flew through it obviously. The reason, I'm going to speed through this, but the reason I gave it 3 stars is just because personally, personally, Richie reminded me of somebody that I know, and so then some parts were hard to read because they were basically conversations that like I've had with this person, or yeah, we won't go into it, but that then meant that like sometimes it was hard to read because yeah, it just, I don't really know how to like, yeah, so for personal reasons, because I'm bitter and emotionally fragile when I read books, I gave this a 3. So if I was able to separate my personal life from books, then I probably would have given it a 4 out of 5 stars, or maybe even a 5 stars, but I could not. So yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to end the video. On that note, this is the end of the video. Why am I laughing so much? I'm not laughing, this is me dealing with me being really awkward and uncomfortable right now. Yeah, so all in all, I read some really great books this month. I'm very excited for this coming month because I filmed a bunch of videos in advance because I'm going to be off in Cornwall, and so that'll be nice. And yeah, that is all for me for today. If you've read any of these books and you want to chat about them, or you have any recommendations based off of the books I've read or anything like that, or video ideas or anything, put them in the comments below. I'd love to read them. I hope you've all had an amazing day. I'm going to love you and leave you, and I shall see you hopefully next Monday and Thursdays for like at least the month of July, because I'm uploading 2 videos every week for the month of July. Don't know if that'll carry on after that, but yeah. See you hopefully next Monday or Thursday. Bye!